Hey, this is Deepesh, and in this video I'm going to take you through the Ads Sniper strategy again, but demonstrate how you can actually use filters and saved reports to make the analysis a lot faster. So in this example, I'm going to use a campaign structure that has been set up in the way that I would prefer. So I've got different funnels and campaigns to match, and also where I can then look at specific funnels to analyze. So here, if we look at the campaign names, we have our different stages between cold, warm, and hot, and we have our existing customer campaign, which isn't currently running. And the advantage of using a good naming strategy means that you can actually use filters to analyze your ads and your performance in the right way. So if I just demonstrate here how to quickly do that, what I want to do is, at this stage, I want to drill straight in to my money-making cold campaigns. So if I look at my cold audience, and within that I've got 3 objectives running, so website conversion, video views, and PPE, page post engagement. The page post engagement is running the graduation strategy right now, so that's not a real big focus of analysis. It's testing that's running in the background. Video views is complementing the website conversion campaigns, building up audiences. But what I want to actually look at is my cold website conversion ads and look at optimization there. So I've selected campaign name cold. I'll now do campaign name is website conversion. And so that narrows it down. So now if I drill into ad sets and ads, I will only see ads related to website conversion. So there's a few different ways you can do this. The first way is, actually before I do that, just show ads that had delivery so that you're just looking at relevant campaigns as well, which is great because that now cancels out your filters, so there's something to watch out for. So do had delivery first and then put your additional filters above that. So I'm going to now put my campaign name cold back in and my campaign name WC right here. So now we've got cold campaigns, website conversion, and had delivery. So now I know if I go into ad sets and ads, it's going to be relevant. What I would prefer to do, because it's a fairly low ticket item, is to look at the last 3 days. Again, it's dependent on your ticket size and how long it takes people to convert. You might want to use 7 days, maybe slightly longer. But for me, because this is an item which is an average $25 AOV, average order value, I'm just going to look at the last 3 days of performance. So here I want to look at the overall campaign and get a sense for how CPA is doing. The cost per acquisition for this particular campaign is $25 because we know that when we bring in upsells, it brings the CPA down and it hits the target for this particular campaign. And considering lifetime value, we create profit out of it. So now we've filtered it out, I can go into the ad set level and look at the same metrics across the ad set. So here at my $25 overall campaign level, I'm looking for the outliers that are spending a lot more and are higher in terms of CPA. So a couple of campaigns here, $23, they're kind of doing okay, 21, 20, etc. They're candidates for scaling. We'd still do some optimization there to see if we can squeeze more out of it. But then we have a few which are out of bounds as well. So this one I'm not massively concerned about, 26, there's probably some optimization to do. This one I am slightly more concerned about. And then a few of these kind of smaller ones which are testing at the moment, I probably want to go in and analyze to see if I can optimize better. So in this example, you can then go again ad set by ad set and find out which ones are working. But actually, now that we've drilled down to just cold and WC, I can go into all of my ads and actually see if there's anything here that can be better optimized. So if I list that by amount spent in the same way as looking at ad sets, I can see which particular ads are performing or not versus the benchmark for the actual campaign. So there may be ad sets which are fluctuating in performance, but this is the quickest way to find out which ads are not performing against your general CPA target and literally to switch them out. So it gives you an opportunity to optimize against that as well. So Facebook can be a bit temperamental. I'm not sure why it's not showing stats for this, but let's just skip down here. So the amount spent, we've listed it by highest to lowest, and we can quickly scan across which ads are not performing. Now, If you are using rules and automations, you can set up rules to cut the ads off as soon as they hit a certain CPA, and that's a great way of maintaining performance. So in this example, we do have a rule, and it's set to switch ads off when they hit above $30. So you can see a couple of ads here over the last 3 days, they have had traffic and they've been cut off automatically. We also have a rule to switch it back on in case the CPA drops, which often happens when in the day your CPA might start to creep up and then those conversions hit later on, and so you want a rule to switch that back on, and that'll be covered in the rules and automations section. But here, for example, I can see that most of the ads are performing well. This one has been switched off, and that one should have been switched back on. So there's, these rules are not completely foolproof, and that's something just to keep an eye on to make sure that they are performing as well. But what you can do is then scroll through and actually see which ones by your high spend are performing or not performing for you as well. So for example, this one for some reason hasn't been cut off, and the reason for that is we have also a rule to make sure the ad gets enough impressions. It's set to 5,000 right now, and this is an example where you really need to balance your rules out and make sure you've got balance between enough impressions to make it statistically relevant, and also you're getting your cutting off as soon as possible. So that's something which is account dependent. This one, for example, we know we can get 5,000 pretty quickly, and if the conversions don't come in then that's a good indication for us to turn off. For some ads, they will hit 5,000 and all of a sudden the conversions kick in. So that's something you have to get right for your account. But this is a quick way to just kind of nip those ads in the bud and just switch them off. If you get an inkling, for example, this one, I might just decide, 3,000 is enough for me. I'm going to switch that off, and I can just hit that there. The other way of pivoting it is to go through by your cost per acquisition number as well. So here I could say, right, what are my highest CPAs? I'm going to cut them off. I'm going to replace them, etc. And just kind of use this opportunity to go through funnel by funnel and cut your ads or make decisions on them, maybe have a look at kind of why they're performing well or not. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out here is once you've done your filtering, so I've looked at ads by cold and WC, you can then save your selection here as well. So what that allows you to do is come back to this and analyze it a lot quicker. So if you just hit save filter here, I'm going to call it cold WC2 because I've already got one there. So if I hit save there, that now appears here. So let's say we get rid of these filters and assume we've just randomly come here and drilled down to the ad level. I can then quickly go in, apply my filter, which I've preset, and then it appears here. So that's one thing I'd recommend you doing is once you create these pivots and segments that you're able to analyze, whether you're looking at ad sets, ads, or campaigns, create a filter for each of your parts of the funnel. So it just makes it so much quicker to analyze and find out where the opportunities and where the problems are as well. So I would create one for cold, warm, hot, etc., and for different things that I wanted to cut through and analyze. So for example, the other one I would definitely be doing here to support the graduation strategy is to also do one for PPE as well. So let's deselect that and deselect that. And let that filter run. So these are the ads now in the graduation strategy. So in this example, I would be looking at the ad set level because there'll be different audiences running different tests, for example. Looking at my average at the ad set level and determining which ones I need to drill down into, and then doing the analysis off the back of it. Right now we're having a few glitches with Ads Manager. Some of the stats are not showing, which is a bit of a pain. But that just gives you an idea of how you can pivot that down. Now the other thing you can do is if I just select the ads here, let's just change that filter back to my WC, and I've got a kind of 3-day date period here. What you can also do at this stage is save this as a report. What that does is where a filter just saves these items at the top, a report will also save the tabs that you're looking at as well. And what that allows you to do is actually come back and look at that later on. So if I do create custom report, and so you can see here it's taken me to the ads reporting section. It's saved my filters. I've got my date selection. I'm looking at my custom columns, which are my main KPIs. And if I now hit save changes, I can save this as a report. So ads, analysis, and cold WC, for example. So now if I hit save, they now appear in my managed reports. So if I want to click into my managed reports, I can then click into my ads, analysis, cold WC that I've just set up, and then I've got my view straight here. So just to demonstrate that, if I go into this one, which is just looking at yesterday, it looks at yesterday's dates, it's just looking at cold, and it will bring back my breakdown. For example, I've done this to look at days, so that if I look at a date period, I can then look at trends over a day period as well. So a few things just to take away from this is to use filters and also save filters to make it faster to do your analysis. And also, once you've got a full view and you've used breakdowns and metrics and dates, etc., save it as a report, and it'll be far quicker to get your data back as well. The other thing about reports is you can also schedule them out as well if you want. So let's say you want a daily report sent to you, you can do that. If you're using the data and you set up tables, you can get that emailed to you as a CSV and then kind of copy and paste that into Excel, for example. So there are a few things to take away from this particular demo.